All right, welcome to the first full week of the stock market, January 6th, huh? You have a
Woo-hoo.
good weekend, Tracker?
It was. It was a weekend full of work and play. I worked hard and played hard. I was trying to go over
Yeah.
redo my spreadsheet, and that was a lot of work. But then also, it's Triangle Tracker's birthday week. His birthday was on Friday, and we're just celebrating it all week long.
Oh, nice. Very,
Yeah,
very good.
we did a bunch of fun stuff.
Very good. Yeah. I didn't really see you around on X posting much stuff, so you
Nope.
must have been busy.
Yeah, we're definitely out and about. Or my nose is in the grindstone on this spreadsheet thing. I'm trying to pare it down to a lot fewer stocks instead of having a giant database of everything anyone's ever asked me to take a look at for them. I'm just going to keep it down to maybe about 40 really good ones.
Oh, that's impossible. You,
I know, right?
you're going to keep adding more. That's just
Well,
how
I
it
think I'll have a separate tab for like here's all the things you guys asked for. I know. Okay, well that's my goal anyway. Good morning, everybody. Lots of good mornings. Oh, happy birthday to the little one, says Fozzie. Thank you. I see requests for SMCI and EOSE, and Elizabeth always asking for Connell MSTX. Oh, well, actually, she just
always,
asked for
always,
them.
always, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
But no,
before that, let's just look at IWM.
yes, let's do the thing. Matt,
Well,
go.
look at this IWM, just as expected, right on time, right on cue. Support held down here, guys, and it's gapping up. And the gap up is looking like it might even gap up above the 786 again, the 226.74. So this is just a normal retracement, just like it was suspected all last week and the weeks before, because when it first happened on the week of December 16th, like, that's a perfect back test. Then it happened again and again. I was just talking to Tracker before we went live. It's like the market makers, they know how to send it right back down to support and make it stay there for a while to shake people out. And then when people capitulate, okay, let's gap up. And that's exactly what they're doing. And so 226 is going to be the new level to watch for the week. Try to stay above that for the whole week. And then if so, it can go to the 230s and recover nicely. So the markets are in recovery mode. Actually, a lot of the charts, they don't look broken at all, just as mentioned. Even all the ones mentioned, like the Connell or MSTX, none of those look broken either. Everything looks like a back test. So everything is okay. And going to the QQQ, another gap up a little bit. Conversion line held. More importantly, the 504 zone held as support too. Even the log scale, the 497.46 held as support. There was no damage at all to this chart because the conversion line never was broken once, right? It wicked below, but never closed below. And then we have the SPY, which was scaring everybody. A lot of people I saw went short on that right at support. And like, that's never a smart place to go short because bullish at support in a bullish market. And sure enough, that 585 still held. It did make a little bit of a wick through that 1.618, but it doesn't matter because it closed back above all other support. So therefore, every single indice is looking very, very well. Actually, I wanted to cover on the SMH too, just to show people what's really going on with this one. And it was an amazing back test. And it just waited enough time to go towards the cloud. And then what do you know? It's the day of the week of the cloud. It's supposed to touch, and then it just gaps up. So SMH seems like this is looking really good for a continuation higher now. And I can honestly see that going to the 0.272, the 362. So the NVDAs, the AMDs, I think the bottom was in, right? And we were talking about that a while too. For AMD especially, people were worried about it, but no, that was just a bottoming process. So this is looking very, very nice for a continuation higher.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like to. We all like AMD. All of us in our little group, we've been chatting about AMD in 2025. So,
Yeah.
not financial advice, but get some. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. And yeah, so I can just jump right into SMCI with that request here. And the thing I'm watching the most is the conversion line here. That's not the chart I want. Let's go to this SMCI. I'm watching conversion line here the most, and yeah, it closed above it on Friday, so that was a good close. And now we can see that it's still stuck, right? So even though it's trying to of the 3263, it's just stuck. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere, and I can see it just stuck within the range right now of the 100 week moving average at 43.48 and the support down here in the 32. So I don't really see any kind of catalyst of it just going higher, like going back to the levels it was before. I just see it maybe ranging in this zone for a while, and if it ever breaks below this 32.63, then I think it's going back to the 20s. So, which is ultimately might be a possibility if it cannot get back above this arc here around $36. So, must really break above 36 to get a little bit more bullish. But if not, it's just
Yeah, we'll have to watch that one for a while, but it would be kind of cool to watch it sort of follow just underneath the arc or oscillate around the arc for a while. And that would make it start to look like a bullish wedge down.
Yeah, it could. But I think it'd be also, if it did go flush down here one more time, then this could be maybe like a double bottom on process for a chance to go higher. So it's not like dead yet. It has potential, but I don't see a catalyst to get back to the highs where it was before anytime soon.
Yep. All right. I should be ready to work here. EUSE. I see EUSE. I've got EUSE chart. Loading it up. Let's look at it on the weekly. My large degree chart. EUSE. The way I've got it right here, it's in the third wave. Might, you know, I don't like this chart. I don't like this chart. You know what? Come back to me on USC, or maybe let's just look at yours because something
going on. I got an ESOE. So
yeah.
So here's my EUSE, and I'm just watching this level up here, the 618, the 704. I think price can get there as long as this 200-week moving average holds as support, which it did do 2 weeks in a row above it. So it actually has a really good possibility to start building a base in this level to go higher. And ultimately, I want to see this little arc right here hold as a support now. So last week it closed above it. This week it's around 540. So just hold that as a support, then I think it can get to the top arc here in the 620s and then go to the 7s. So this chart is finally looking like it wants to get there. And in the past, you can see right here, there's a wick here that was at 567, and it actually closed exactly at 567 on Friday. So it'll be nice to get at least a weekly candle close above this wick right here, so we don't have to worry about that as resistance anymore and get a higher high. So that is really the focus. Closing the week above 567.
All right, I fixed the problem with my EUSE chart. 933. I think I was predicting a 618, 1236, 2236 kind of chart here, but I've bumped it up to the 138. So just like Matt says, he was looking for it to build a base. I see the same thing. I think it should top out near 628 and then do a test back to maybe $5.11 for the 100% fib extension, and then it goes all the way up to the 2382. You can even see they've already got some sell order blocks up here waiting for that. So to 933 for the wave 5 top. That's my USC right there.
All right. Now let's jump into the MicroStrategies and the Coinbases here. So MicroStrategy, first I'm going to start with log scale. And I see somebody's question, why do I have 4 Bitcoin tabs? Because the more Bitcoin tabs, then the merrier, right? No, I just analyze on different time frames and different scales. So, but MicroStrategy, it closed right below the 1.414, just by like a penny. But that's okay because it's gapping up above the 45-degree angle again, and it's going to open above that 339 this week. So this was looking like one giant liquidity grab, and everybody was expecting it to go and close this gap. Even myself, I'm like, yeah, it's now possible, but it never did. So sometimes they just front run it and they don't close it, and I think it's okay. So this chart actually looks really nice, especially when I go to linear scale. The chart looks beautiful because it held every single weekly candle close above this 2.618 Fibonacci extension, the 322.77, every single week since it broke out. it closed a candle above it, and that is proving to me that this is just one liquidity grab, and it doesn't really need to go back down to that 281.87. And there we go. I think price can continue its journey towards the 440 again over time, but it's not going to go straight up there, but it could just go up and then maybe retest support again and then go up. So we don't know, but I think this is actually the bottom here for MicroStrategy, and I think it's also the bottom for Bitcoin as well, because it had so many chances to break below 91,000, but it never did. So Bitcoin looks strong. So does MicroStrategy. So does Coinbase. And let me just go to the Coinbase chart here. And the Coinbase is looking good, right? It's going to actually gap up above the arc again this morning. So this arc is once again going to be my support. And this is good, right? It's good for spending more time on top of this arc than underneath it, which is really going to mean that it's going to be ready sooner than later to go by 1895. And we turn on the Ichimoku here. And this is back above all indicators, right? All it did was just go back down to the baseline to retest that as support. So it was a big breakout, nice little back test. Well, I guess a bigger back test than expected, right? Because I was expecting this arc to hold the whole time. But apparently there's a lot more liquidity down here to grab. So that's where it went. And now we can see that it can have the potential now to slowly, gradually get back to the 318. And I do expect all-time highs sooner than later. Probably once Bitcoin gets back towards the 108s and above, it'll start heading towards the 400s.
Can we do Bitcoin real quick?
Yeah.
So I posted this chart this morning, just letting people know that it looks really good. It looks really, really good. But just in case, if Bitcoin price were to fall under 97,000 again, if it falls back into this cloud, then there's a structure set up that could take it back to 84,477. But Matt's going to tell you why that's not likely to happen.
Well, you have it on your screen. You can just tell them right there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, this conversion line is curling up here, and the cloud itself should act as support. There's a lot of, Matt sees a lot of support in the 96,000 to 97,000 region right here. And, as long as that holds, we won't see an ABC down. It should keep going up. And just like Matt's got his 127.2 and 141.4 retrace extensions here, I'm looking at those same numbers. So I'm looking for it to test up to 124,000 next. That's where I want to see it go, maybe like right around here. April, I don't know. Timing's hard, but that's where I want to see it.
I mean, all I'm watching is really the date.
Yeah. This is the daily chart. Once it gets over 100,000, which obviously it's had, like Matt just said, every chance to, fall way, way, way below, and it didn't. Back over 100,000, it just starts to look up into the sky and build. Check out new resistances again. So back to 108,364 is the all-time high we had. Above that, it goes to 124,000. If you can get above that, it goes to 132,000. But even just getting up to 124,000 is going to do like really magical things. So here's my MicroStrategy chart. And again, my charts don't predict timing this way, but just, it really should blow your mind as it blows mine. That all we had here, all this price action we had, going up to that all-time high, and then the low we just came off the bottom of, that's just a giant 1-2. And so now we go into the wave 3, sub 1 takes us up to, higher highs than you've ever seen before. 697, the back test to 491, on up to 1,030 for MicroStrategy, back to 824, and on up to 1,569. Just have to wait it out. But like now, if you were cautious and sitting on the sidelines for MicroStrategy, it's time to get back in there. Not financial advice, but I think MicroStrategy, Bitcoin, ConL, all these things are going to really outperform going forward. Like, I love Tesla, but they're going to outperform Tesla for a little while here, in my opinion. Let's say you, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really bullish on the future of everything crypto related. So even the miners too. So I think that is good. Let me just jump into Tesla since it is doing well pre-market. Here we go. It's at 421.50, and what happened? What happened to all the fear last week? So this is just a normal back test, and I only really post a lot about Tesla on X when I see things at a very, very awesome opportunity, which I was pounding the table basically the whole time last week. Like, guys, this is what you've been waiting for, and it
Yeah.
happens like clockwork. Everybody says, I'm going to buy some when it gets to this price. And then they don't because they think it's going lower. And this is the classic retail mentality mistake. They see it as like, oh, it's going to go to 360, it's going to go to 350, like, well, when are you ever going to buy then? Like you're never going to buy. You're never going to buy. And this is what happens all the time. And I'm like, this is the best opportunity you're going to get is this back test of the 786. Can it go lower? Or sorry, the 886. Can it go lower? Sure. But that would be even more amazing opportunity if that happened because it would just be a back test of the conversion line 360. That's just being greedy, I think. So I had to start accumulating TSLL in this zone because this was just too good to be true. And sure enough, now price is back at 421, 47, and it's above previous all-time highs as well. But the thing I mentioned the most on my weekly Tesla update is this weekly candle close here. The all-time high was only 407.36, right? It closed there. And do you see ever since it broke out here, every single weekly candle for the past 4 weeks has closed above that number, right? Every single one. So this is definitely building a base on top of a previous all-time high. So super bullish. Everybody that was worried about it, that was just nonsensical. I could not understand why. The super bullish chart, and there we go. Now price is going higher, and as long as it stays above previous all-time highs in this zone, this whole zone, then it's going to just keep building a base and go higher, and then 500s will be next.
Yep. And then on the shorter time frame, I've got what I posted publicly on X this morning for Tesla. Resistance already tested this morning at 421.76. We're actually above that again now. I see it wicked up here even higher. So originally I thought if that was going to hold its resistance, it might want to come back and do a retest of the monthly pivot at 412.89. But right now, if it stays above the baseline here on the 4-hour chart at about 421, then you're going to see it start to check out the daily R1 at 425, maybe back to the baseline again, get over the daily, and then it can start going up. And when it gets into this cloud, I don't know if it's going to want to push it down or if it'll just kind of make its way through the neck here and get over 430 again. There's a teeny tiny little gap right there that just feels like it wants to get over it, which is why I think it has this shelf here. Anyway, my magical moving average 75 right here, put it on your chart. Every time scale, it's important. It shows you where the battle lines are drawn. And this is where it really needs to get to. It wants to test this moving average 35. Right now, it's about 427, 428. And it'll probably bump up against it for a while, check back to some of these pivot points, like just the daily R1. And once, if it can get back over the top of that moving average 35, then it can start testing resistances again above. So the main one I'm looking at for this week, obviously, is the weekly R1 at 437.34. So I'd like to see it just hit the top of that at some point this week.
Yeah, very good.
And then if it does that, we'll take it from there.
Yep, very bullish chart.
Look, Matt, it's got a tiny little sliver right here between these two clouds. It can just escape right up through.
Yeah, it looks really fantastic, and nothing was damaged at all. It was just extended, right? It was just extended, and when things are extended, they can flush down back to support very easily to scare everybody when nothing actually happened at all. So, with that said, bullish things for Tesla in the future, bullish things for Bitcoin, everything, right? Looks really good for recovery.
That's right. Don't forget, my target is still. I'm still claiming. We'll get to 710 on or before July 18th of this year. That's my personal like. Hey, tracker, you said it was going to do this thing. It's like that's right. I said it's going to do that thing because that's what I believe.
Nice.
Anyway, we'll see. You guys can praise me or lambast me after July.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Let's see.
Let's see. What else do we have here?
Well, I see a rocket
Rocket Lab.
Rocket Lab. Yeah.
And you can look at the next one. Rocket Lab on the weekly chart. Let me just turn these. Oh, actually, I'll leave them on because they're useful, right? All the stuff that looks like weird barcoding, these are my pivot points. I changed them to black because then they're just easier to read. Price right now is about it closed 28.80 on Friday. It's just on its way up to my 123.6 fib target at $39.03. And of course, from 2 to 3, it's a 5-wave move up. And I can already kind of see that we've just finished that 1-2. Here's your 1, your 2, and now we can make our way into wave 3, 4, 5, something like that. Let's see if I get closer and see our chart. I'm going to turn these off just because they are kind of they clutter up the picture. But you can put it on your own charts if you have TradingView, and they're very useful for watching price action from day to day. But I'm not day trading Rocket Lab. I'm swinging it, and so I'm just going to hold it all the way until we get up to 39.03. I will try to do a smaller degree chart, maybe somewhere between 36 and 32. It might have to do a little triangle here to build another base of support before it can peak out at 39.03. But I like it. Just keep hanging on to it. And if you've waited this long and you haven't done anything and you're interested, this is not a bad place to buy it after it just did this big test back. Rocket Lab. And then eventually, this thing goes to $57.40.
Yeah.
What's next?
I see some Mara and CLSK, so I'll do that real quick. So CLSK, no damage was done on the high time frame, which I was trying to say on X as well. Like every time I got back to that 45-degree angle, it was an opportunity since it broke out right here. Since it broke out in November of 2023, every single time it touched that 45-degree angle, and this time was no different. It just had a little bit more liquidity grab underneath there to get, and which was even better opportunity for those that did buy in the lower nines. So this has a good potential now to go back up towards the resistance zones up here in the 13s and 14s. So yes, I was a buyer in this zone all last week, and I think this is really looking great for a continuation higher. Nothing about this high time frame chart is bearish. Since the bottom here, you guys need to realize this is like over 1,000% gain. So of course, a little bit 40% pullback or whatever is normal for the higher time frame. So this is has potential to keep just building a base on top of this angle until it's really ready to break the weekly cloud and then go higher. But more importantly, the monthly cloud is what is in the way, right? The monthly cloud is just still stuck in the way up here. So that's really the battle. And once it can get inside the monthly cloud, then I think it's going to be game on for CLSK. But until then, just more building a base on this angle until it's really ready to go higher. So CLSK looks fine. No problems with that chart. Mara also looks fine. It just was a big liquidity grab underneath the blue level of my GAN here. And it held, right? It closed the week back above, and now we can see it's going back towards the weekly cloud. So it's nearing a resistance zone right now. Just be a little bit cautious because it could easily come back down to retest the 1850s, 60s, whatever, again, just to scare more people like it's going to collapse. But it could just keep building a base on this zone, maybe grab some liquidity underneath. And then ultimately, it's going to break through the cloud and then go higher as well and head to the arcs above, which could be in the 40s, right? I think all of this is just massive resistance right here. All these wicks that you can see in these candles, because it could never break above. So with that said, it's just trying to build a base on a previous resistance level right here, into support. So Mara's fine.
All right. Well, I've got QSI. Two people requested QSI, so I pulled it up here. And let's see. The problem with this one is, unfortunately, it looks like it truncated a little bit. My wave 5 top was all set for a nice 223.6 fib extension after it went 123.6, 618, and 223.6 would have been great. But look where it stopped, right at the 200% fib extension. That's exactly where the 200% fib extension was, just a penny under it. And it went deeper than it should have. Well, I mean, it could be a larger degree. It could be a larger 3-4, but they just had a share offering is what happened. So I think the thing to watch is, does it go lower than 343 or not? This might be a place, you could even front run it and just say, if you wanted to stop out of this with some profit left, maybe 383, 380 itself could be your stop loss area. Because if it does do the full ABC, it just might be like a measured move, for example, from this high to this low, and then stacked again on this recent lower high, which takes it knocks it all the way back to $2 again. And that could build a larger degree 1, 2. But if you bought it anywhere around here, you still have some green left. Maybe take some profit and then wait and see what happens. If it does show that 347 was the bottom and it starts to move away, it shouldn't go lower than that 380 again to do it. And then you'll be back in the green as it goes up higher. That's why I've got, this right here. Maybe this is actually building up 1, 2 on its way to 3 here. This 2 is pretty low. I'm going to have to retool this chart, but for right now, stop loss near 380, so you don't get stuck if it goes back to 2. That's it. QSI. Otherwise, it could be looking really great if it doesn't go lower than 340. That's going to I'll have to take a look and see what it does next. And see a request for Archer. No, wait, that's not the wrong one. I mean ACRH, right? Not ARCH. Archer Aviation. I think this is what you meant. Let's see. Archer Aviation is doing great. It's just on its way to my wave 3 target next. It's actually in its larger degree wave 5, and I charted the subwaves on the way up there. So it should hit 1326 next, maybe with a test back to 1122, and then finally get into, and then like a 3-4 right here. Oh, ACHR just crossed 1174. Anyway, my final zone is somewhere around 1758, possibly between 1656 and 1821, just based on the history of the price action so far. I'll start selling it into 1656 for sure, and then just if I have if I have the time, I'll chase this tail a little bit, but I probably won't have the time. I'll just ditch near 16 in the 1650s and move on to something else and while I watch and see what kind of support this tests back to afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, I see a request for Nike. I'll do that one. So I posted a chart on X yesterday about Nike, simply because people think that it's going to be bullish. I mean, maybe, but let's just say this. The bottom might be in for Nike in this range, right? From current price all the way down to the previous high back here. From when was that high? That was a long time ago. Right here on January of 2016, right? From current price all the way down to that previous high in January 16 down to 68. So the bottom might be near or in for Nike, but it's got a long road ahead of it for recovery. So will it go higher? Well, first thing, it has to get back above this 1.272, the 774.61. That's the first step. It's still below it, right? Still below it. It can't get back above it yet. it's still stuck below the weekly conversion line, weekly baseline, weekly cloud, all of this, right? So what this ultimately means to me is it's just going to be stuck, and I think it's just going to be dead money. I think sure it can go back up to the cloud, but that's only like 86, right? And then it might just retrace and then just stay in this range for a while. So to me, there's a lot better charts to focus on than this one because I don't see it really doing anything. Even might be in. Now, once it starts getting back inside the cloud and then going towards the upper part, then I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to have a chance to break through. But until then, I think it's going to spend many weeks, many months just consolidating, ranging in this zone and doing nothing. So I think there's better opportunity elsewhere.
All right, I've got iRobot. If you want me to do that one next, iRobot. There, let's just go back to this view I just had. You know, it's a stock that's a bit distressed after a lot of you know, people got really excited about iRobot. It hit melted up to $197 a share, and then what did it do? It went bam, 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 and like just dropped back lower than its IPO, lower than its previous low. It's not a great looking chart overall, but it's trying to build a base. Just like Matt's favorite term about dead money, you know, it might not be the smartest place to put your money right now, but if you're just holding on to shares long term, then sure, you can just watch it go. It did wick up through this 123.6 fib extension, almost this 138.2, really. Let me just look back. 236.382. Sure, I'll give this the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it went to, it couldn't get to the 764, went to the 23. No, I'm not going to do that. It just wicked up too much. 123.6 back to 76.4. So after hitting that $12.59 high, it might be testing down for a while until it hits $9.32 again. And that would be the wave 4 bottom, which would then send up to the 2236 fib extension for 1674. Now, I do like the way that looks because if it can get to 1674 and then build up support base again, like just another triangle, you know, of delaying, building support action, then what it does is it's foreshadowing that it reached this 23.6 fib extension, fib retracement level. And at first it was resistance, but then if we get back over it, then the 38.2% takes it to 2368. Now, if this thing ever gets to 2368, tests back to 1686, then that's a really good setup for it to go back to retrace to its 61.8% fib. And you can already see the sell order is already set up here for 3472. So I don't know if they'll have any kind of catalyst for moving the price along faster. I don't know of anything like that at all. So you might.
He just said it's a buyout play for him.
Oh, great buyout play.
Buyout, yeah. Like, I think.
All right, I won't go on.
I just want to show mine real quick for iRobot. Yeah, the way it closed on Friday was foreshadowing how it's going to open today. It was a very bullish close, right? It closed above the baseline, the 50-week, and all that resistance. It closed above on one weekly candle, which it hasn't really done in a while. Basically, that was a setup for today, right? It's gapping up. It was a bullish close, so now it's gapping up to the bottom of the cloud. So, I mean, if you're buying this for a buyout play, you have to understand this is gambling, right? This is not really investing; it's just gambling because this chart is not a bullish chart by any means. Because the next higher high would be way up here in the 40s, and that's a long ways away. So, I mean, yeah, people can play as a buyout play, and now that it's actually trying to get back inside the cloud, it does have potential to go back up in the 20s and whatnot too. But that's just a previous support flipping to resistance, even if it got back up in this zone. So the chart is not bullish at all, and if you want to gamble with that, that's fine, right? Because it does have a chance to go higher because of the way the weekly candle closed last Friday. So yeah, that's it.
Let's see. Along the same lines, I'll do NIO real quick.
All right.
Which, it's not really, the Chinese government's got a lot of money to back NIO with, but they're just not as good as Tesla's, right? And so, anyway, the way, and the chart isn't as good as Tesla's either. After hitting an all-time high of 66.99, it retraced all the way back down to lower than its IPO, though it did make a higher low than the lowest it ever made. So I don't know if that'll make a really nice 1-2, but I'm just looking for a retrace right now. It's got to retrace to at least 27.82, and it just came down to the bottom here. So it's probably going to have to build a base down here for a while. Like it will probably get stuck in the mud here for a little bit before it can ever do all this. Again, I would just look at NIO as like not a great place to keep your money for very long. There's so many more bullish, faster moving stocks right now.
Yeah,
that's all I've got to say about that.
All right, I got time for one more. I can't get to all of these requests, guys, but I'll just do DJT. Simply because the inauguration is coming later this month.
Yeah.
And is this going to break out? Well, it doesn't really look like it's going to do anything right now, but it is trying to hold support. So let's just watch this baseline, the 33.22, as support. We can even do like a quick little fib from the high to the low and see that it's a lot of resistance, right? A lot of resistance right here at the 38.26, which is also kind of right above the conversion line, the 36.06 there. So if it can actually break above this 38.26, then I think it has a good shot of getting to the cloud. But until then, it's just stuck in a range and not sure if it's going to go anywhere. But if it stays above 33.22, then I think it's got a shot. But if not, it's going to retest lower levels. So the bottom line is, yeah, it's just stuck in a range, and it can't really get more bullish until it gets at least above 38.
But if it does do that, it might start to look like a great big inverse head and shoulders.
Yeah. If it gets above 38, I think it can eventually flip the cloud up here to a support and then go higher. But until then, it's just really stuck.
All right, I promised to do one really quick one. GRRR. This is actually from Red Chip Companies. My guy over there told me about this a while back, and I added it to my spreadsheet, and I wasn't bullish enough because I didn't whale watch like I should have. Look at the whales. Really, the institutional buying really came in strong on this one. So this one is a much higher chance that it's going to be doing percentages of its all-time high. So its all-time high was $510 after its IPO. Got knocked way down. It did spend a lot of time building a base, and then now the whales are showing up. And so simply just not to this one up there, but just to this wick right here, I'm looking at that 100%, and I think so is much of the market right now. So look for it to go to 27.91 next. It's almost there already. Back to 18.02, and then on up to 62.07 for the 88 point. I'm like, that's pretty bullish. Yeah, I think it might want to do 88.6, then do another build a base, and then have a 5-wave extension for you. But this one, more than some of these other things that we've just looked at, looks like it's got a really good chance to make new higher highs. It's an IT. It's like basically a spying company for governments. It's a government spying company. It's a turnkey system. You go, you say, "Hey, I'd like one of your vans or trucks or whatever," and they set it up, and then they plug into all your cameras, and the artificial intelligence spies on your populace and tells you what they're doing. So apparently, it's really big in Saudi Arabia right now. That's where they had a bigger contract last.
Oh, interesting.
All right, that's it. That's it for me today. Yeah. Matt, final words.
Yeah, final words. Things are recovering. Things are bullish. Don't get shaken out at support. It happens so often. But be bullish. In a bullish market structure, you got to be bullish. And that's why last week I was bullish on everything.
Yeah, we're really excited about 2025. It's such a tragedy that the last Triumvirate show we had was weeks and weeks ago, and I wasn't even really there. I was just there in spirit.
Well, yeah, if Cat gets his voice back or whatever, we can do one tomorrow. But it depends, I guess.
We're really hoping to do our big first show of 2025 tomorrow night. So we'll let you know.
Yeah. All right, guys.
All right, thank you so much again, Matt.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow. Good luck out, everybody. Tracker out.